Ladies and gentlemen, what is going on, everyone? My name is Boit, and I'm back with some more Age of Mythology retold action. My lights aren't on. No. All right, there we go. That's much better. In the right-hand corner of the map, playing as the blue Zeus. His name is Tunison. In the left-hand corner of the map, playing as the red Loki. His name is Kido. Map is Ghost Lake. And we've got ourselves a little bit of a matchup here, an oldie but a goldie. This is one of my favorite matchups. It reminds me of the days before the fortifications patch. There was this one game that was played between, I want to say, Kavoth and Matador, and it was a Zeus versus Loki. It was in the Mythic Wars tournament, I believe. Yes, because that was the last tournament that was in the thing. If you haven't seen that one, I did cast it. There's the whole Mythic Wars playlist on my YouTube home channel. Go back and watch it because it was an amazing game. Shout out to Yodesla for putting that tournament together and everything back then. Hope he's doing well. But this is a really fun matchup a lot of the time. That being said, it's been over a year since that Mythic Wars tournament. There's been a billion patches since then. Both of these gods are in different states. You've got a Zeus that is heavily buffed in the favor department, and a Loki that is heavily buffed in the speed department for their Hersa and everything else, as well as a whole bunch of other stuff like the Throwing Axeman now better versus Hoplites. Hippias now better versus Throwing Axeman. They got a little buff of HP as well recently too. So there's a lot of different options here, a lot of different thoughts or a lot of different things to consider in this matchup. And I'm actually really excited to see Kido playing Norse. It's been a hot minute since I've seen him on his Norse. He is the pioneer of some of the very early days Norse kind of peak strategy, so to speak. The best ideas for Norse have come out of Kido, for the very least Freyr, and to some degree that tied into Heimdall, Odin, and Loki as well. Of course, he is playing Forseti in this one, and he's going to be going for his Hersa and all that other good stuff. This is the sort of thing that most Loki players are going to be going for at the moment, since the recent buff. A lot of the legacy Loki crew were very happy to hear that their Hersers would be traveling at the speed of 5.5. Of course, not quite what they were at the legacy speed of 5.72. Shout out to Ragnarox for his constant. I missed that. We saw a lot of Hersers in legacy. We'll see a lot of Hersers in this game as well. As Tunison, he is getting himself out as Heracles. He's gone Athena. There is some... How do I put this? There is a little bit of... How can I explain this? I don't even know how to say this. There's like... Okay, this is the thing, right? There is some reason here in this matchup to actually not go Athena. Athena has been the most popular god against Norse for a very long time. We are going to be seeing Athena here. And in fact, we've got Labyrinth of Minos coming through for Tunison, which seems a little bit outrageous considering the Hersa situation. But if you get the upgrade, they do go up to, I think it's 5.3 speed, which is slower than the Hersa. But it's enough to micro in a fight. It's enough to stay away from the Hersa in a fight and utilize the Hippias to body block. Now, if you know anything, you'll know Hippias do actually beat Hersa. Now, it might sound crazy. 155 HP, 15% hack armor. They've got 182 effective hack HP. Hersa has got 162 effective hack HP. And it's obviously got 7.3 hack damage. This guy's got 10 hack damage. So the winner in the straight up fight is the Hippies, and they do cost the same. They cost 120 resources. Of course, gold is a little bit more expensive than food. So it's not exactly the same. They're a little bit more expensive. So there is a lot of reason here for a Zeus player to actually go Hermes in this matchup, to go Hermes to build some hoplites as well to mix in so that they can tank up, to build Hippias, and then also go for the centaur. Now that's obviously not what we're seeing, and well, Keto is doing some keto things here. This is new to Norse, not even new to Loki, but it's this sort of returned. I should say, not even new. This sort of idea has returned to Norse, where they run around the map and they kill all the animals. Every single animal is basically working towards myth unit spawns as he gets a troll. So yeah, it's basically 600. Well, take a look at the stats: 160 wood, 150 favor. That's going to be 310 total resources. Times that by 2, and you get 620. So 620 damage on anything equals from a Herso equals a myth unit spawn. So yeah, the one way to shut this down is to actually get your Toskopos early days and start actually smacking these up. It's really, really silly. I'm going to go out and say it. It's really silly. I don't think this should be a thing. You probably should not be able to run around the map and kill all the animals and start working towards myth unit spawns. But nonetheless, it is a thing, and the weakness of this to some degree is the fact that your units are busy killing off animals. So your opponent's got all the time in the world to get whatever they want done. As Tunison is just making up his army of hoplite, of Hippias, of everything. As you see some raiding cavalry out, and this will shoo the Hippias away. We actually have another Minotaur coming in, which is a little bit wild considering you're up against Loki. Most of the time I say myth unit is very, very good unit, but when you're playing against certain gods, you have to kind of accept that certain myth units are just off the table. This is something to have in the back of your mind. For example, against Zeus, against Greek in general, the big fat myth units like your Hydra, like your Fafnir, these type of units, they're not available to you because nice raid from Keto. He comes in, gets one build pick. I should be focusing on the game instead of focusing on my own theory. Villager over here getting sent packing as the Theseus and Heracles will come over here, slap that one down. We do have the hoplites coming back in, and those Ursa. Can he block that one? No, not quite fast enough there. Nice try from Tunison as the Ursa get out of there. Okay, let me finish my rant. So you can't build like the big fat myth units versus Greek because their heroes, their late game heroes, are too strong, right? The Bellerophon, Perseus, etc. Too strong. They'll take those out very, very easily. But what you can build is the low cost massable myth unit in the mythic age. For example, you can build the centaur. You can build, say, an Anubite or a massive Anubite. You can build a massive automaton, for example, in the mythic age versus Greek. Now versus Loki, you don't want to build the frontline bruiser myth unit because these Hersa are going to be able to take them down very, very easily. And that's like the Minotaur, for example. Cyclops is also kind of that unit, but we have seen that being effective. So maybe what I'm saying isn't fully correct. The only reason it's effective is because you mix in Hippaspist with the Cyclops, and you can get those right from the classical age. So if you get these Minotaur out, for example, and then you get to the heroic age, maybe that's when you start making Minotaur in the heroic age. Makes sense, and you can make the Paspist. But then again, why would you not just make Hydra then as another option? As the Hersa come back in, going for the villagers, not quite able to pick one off, takes a couple of lub taps as the Hersa will get out of here. Shout out to the crew that supported the Gameathlon crowdfunder here as well. Repping some Hersas. But Tunison now will be able to get to his heroic age. I should note this is a 2 gold mine Ghost Lake, which is really, really good for our Loki player to play for things like this semi-fast heroic. He's going through Bragi. I actually am not 100% sure I like the Bragi. I do prefer a Njord here, just on the fact that you do need to get yourself to Jarls in this matchup. Jarls are really, really important to tank up the potential Hippaspis that are going to be coming through. Of course, The other angle for Tunison would be to make Prodromus in that situation as well, as we do have a random wall coming up. That's going to get knocked down, and then Tunison will knock down... Tunison will knock down the next wall.
No.
And Keto's just being annoying here. He does get snared up, and he will lose this Berserk for it if his units will allow him to. No, they move at the same speed. Never mind. With any amount of micro here, he should be able to kill off the Berserk, but I don't think Tunison is micro in there. You've got to animation cancel, kind of play League of Legends with your Heracles. If you got 5-speed unit versus 5-speed unit, you've got to animation cancel. But there's the Bragi through for Keto, and Tunison on the back, continuing to mass up his army, making himself some more Deuterinos, and Dionysus, the god of choice. He's got 45 favor in the bank. I'm not exactly sure what he's saving up for. He's going to get some upgrades in. Don't think he needs to grab Aegis Shield. Is that what it's called still? Have I got that wrong? Yeah, I don't think he has to get that one because there's no pierce damage being dealt by Keto as Keto comes over onto this position. He just wants to set up his gold mine. Protect that. Makes sense. Play slow. Perfect play from Keto thus far, as Tunison is playing still incredibly defensively. We're now going to see battle boards coming out. We have Swine Array as well in for Keto, so he has an answer for the Hippias. Now, of course, what Tunison should be doing here, and he does actually go for pretty quick Thracian horses and medium Hippias. But what Tunison should be thinking is Hapaspist and everything else after that. Hapaspist, maybe you could go full into infantry here and maybe get some Peltast or something to deal with the throwing axemen as an option. Onto the bottom side here. Keto going to swing around and look for something to do on the bottom side of the map. We do have ourselves the Dionysia, the heavy cavalry, all that other good stuff coming through for the Tunison. Longhouse coming up for Keto. We got the houses coming up on the top as well for Keto. They actually went up to heavy Hippias. So yeah, this is just effectively, I mean, he's got the archery range. He's got access to Peltast. I don't really rate Toxotes in this matchup unless you're like committed to creating a ball of Toxotes. For example, with Ares, with Hades, Ares and like Artemis or something like that. Unless you're committed to creating a ball of Toxotes versus the Norse in this specific situation, probably going to be a little bit lackluster. It's now Jarl's coming in for Keto. And Tunison is still just building up his death ball. Remember, he's still got bronze. He's still got restoration. He's still got bolt. So the longer he sits on those... I mean, the same is true to some degree with flaming weapons. But the longer he sits on these god powers, the more population he gets, the more his death ball is made, the harder it's going to be for a speedy Norse player to actually deal with this. This is the thing, right? Like, Norse is really good when utilizing speed, when attacking multiple different things at once. When Norse is forced into a situation where they have to play Death Ball, that's where life gets a little bit tricky. As now, the army moving out, and of course, Keto does have that spy on. He's going to be greeting the army out in the middle of this position. He's ready to drop and run here as Bolt comes down onto the back line. No bronze from Tunison just yet. Might be better for him to drop the restoration first and then click bronze, but he goes for the bronze there. Flaming weapons comes down, and the big fight is going to come through. You've seen there's less stuff here for Tunison, but bronze and restoration, and most importantly, these Hippias on the back line devastating the throwing axemen, and the Keto army does indeed get wiped here as Keto makes a pretty devastating mistake trying to go full in on that. He could have retreated back to the hill fort. He had the wall set up, trade flaming weapons for restoration and bronze, no problems, sit behind the wall and then continue the game. But he took a crazy amount of damage there. He's going to try and pull himself back in, but here's the thing, Tunison does not need to attack this position. Look at the infrastructure. Look at the town center. Tunison's got siege hoplites. He's got siege Hypaspis. He's got a crazy advantage. This town center is going to be going down, and Keto recognizes that now. He's got to get over here. He did get a huge amount of favor from that fight, but he's not going to be able to use it here. Town center does get destroyed as the army comes in, as more units are pumping out, but I'm not sure that Keto is going to be able to do a whole lot here, as he's going to pull back away from this position. You have the random Minotaur going to come in, try and get a little headbutt off, but the Minotaur does come over and, the Hearser come over and deals with that Minotaur there. The Minotaur in the middle still doing work, though. These Minotaur got 1,000 damage versus Loki. You wouldn't be expecting that when all those Hearser are coming out, and Keto taps out as Tunison shows the way here. I love this game plan from Tunison. I do think this is very much possible in the other direction as well. I don't believe that this would have been any less effective with Hermes. Yes, the restoration came in clutch, but you could have gone Hermes. You could have been making some Centaur as well. But this is very, very, very good from Tunison, and Keto gets smacked here from the Zeus. Lots of Greek players have been struggling in this matchup because everyone goes, okay, I'm playing Greek. I got to go Hoplite. I got to go Toxote, and I got to fight the guy straight up. Answer to that is no, you don't. Toxotes versus Throne Axeman. It's a bit of a difficult matchup. I'm not going to lie. It is a little bit difficult. You got to micro really, really well with the Hoplites to make sure that they don't run face first into the Throne Axeman, whereas the Norse player basically just needs to ensure that the Throwing Axemen are attack moving. So it's very easy on the Throwing Axeman side. Raiding Cavalry, obviously, Hearser obviously can be very effective to take out Toxotes as well. So it's a difficult one to go Hoplite plus Toxotes. But Hoplite plus Hippias, especially with the Thracian horses mixed in, even though there was that swine array through from Keto, just not enough to carry him through. I think this one here, if Keto had pulled back away from the bronze, after clicking Flaming Weapons, force bronze out, fine to trade Flaming Weapons for bronze, pull back behind the wall, then we'd probably see Tunison do the same move down to this and attack the town center. But Keto would be at full pop. He'd be able to move down. He'd be able to fight here. He might lose the town center, but he'd get a lot of kills, a lot of favor, and be able to continue in the game, rebuild the town center, make some battle ball, and maybe the game continues in a pretty interesting way. But in this situation, Keto makes a mistake. Tunison capitalizes, and that's what happens from time to time in Age Mythology. I felt like showing you guys a game like this because oftentimes I watch the games where players don't make those early game mistakes. The game doesn't end after the first little engagement, but as you can see, this does happen from time to time. Take a look at the post game, take a look at the units killed lost, and you can see a overwhelming advantage here of 71 to 14. Of course, if you're going to lose 71 units and kill 14, you will lose the game. That is only natural. You guys did enjoy this one, and you want to see more quick games. You want to see players dominating. Let me know. I do like the longer games. I like players duking it out, having an interesting affair. But if you want to see these types of games, let me know, and I'll endeavor to do that. Otherwise, we'll stick to the good games, and I'll see you guys in the next one.